this time, we'll call the Recreation Advisory Committee meeting to order. Would everyone please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got the roll call.
Mr. Sims.
Here?
Ms. Flesher.
Here.
Ms. White.
Here.
Ms. Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Paschal.
Here.
Mr. Webster. I'm sorry, Ms. Webster. Ms. Gilroy.
Here.
At this time, has everyone had an opportunity to be able to review the past minutes? And were there any corrections needed? If not, we can have a motion from the floor for the minutes to be approved as written.
Motion to accept is approved?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved as written without corrections. So now we're going to go to our unfinished business, and we have the citywide recreation master plan status. And I had an opportunity to attend the meeting last February 8th. I do apologize to the board members for not speaking because I did have an opportunity to speak, but I sat there and throughout the whole entire meeting, I mean, I'm not blaming anyone about anything. It's just that I saw that a course of action took place where they had a discussion about each topic, meaning the board did, going to, and then everything was good. And just at that point, when it came time to discuss the portion about this particular item right here, they kind of went where they asked the public to speak first, and then they discussed everything, and then it was voted upon. So it kind of threw me off, so I wasn't ready for that part. So I do apologize to my fellow members for not speaking, but it kind of threw me off. So, but other than that,
I had a question. I tried to get back for that meeting. I was just passing Yeehaw Junction with my phone watching the meeting.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure. I knew somebody was there because I heard them mention that. I'm feeling bad that I wasn't there because I would have addressed it also. I'm not sure if City Council actually understood where we were going with that. I think we were just, it almost seemed like we were just putting out this proposal. This is the money that it would cost. And I don't know if they really realized why we were really aiming for this, and there wasn't any discussion.
and that what I kind of think, but I can't speak for them at all. And I was going to speak, but just again, it kind of threw me off a little bit. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone at all. I just, I know normally the actual item is discussed, then input from the public is brought about. Then I think a voting take place at that point in time, but it didn't. So it just
And
it
I
threw me
think
off.
they've had bad, the last time or two, it sounded like when they had done this before with master plan, that they felt like it was a waste of money and nothing came through with that. And I wish I would have been able to explain to them a little bit more about having a direction, because we need to have something to direct us in the years to come. And when we've got money here, there's a lot of building going on right now. And we've got monies going into Parks and Rec that can only be used for certain things. And when things come up and ideas, it's nice to be able to have an idea of where we feel that money should be used. And so we're kind of back now where when something comes up, we'll address it and see what happens from there. But to have any future plan on that, I don't know, can this come back up again to City Council, or is this a done deal if we felt like we wanted to bring this up again?
Well, in fact, a councilperson actually requested that this item be reintroduced to City Council for reconsideration. So the city manager will include it in the agenda on March 8th.
Okay.
So it will come back up again?
It will.
Okay.
Okay.
So we need to be there to speak to it. And I don't, okay, so that's a good thing. I'm
Yes.
just feeling like we need to at least give our views on why we brought this up in the first place.
And then, and then will we have to have one person, or could, if each member want to come and speak something, or how?
It
So
would be open to the public, I would think, when this is brought up, then we can come up and speak to it before the discussion, that would go on with that.
Yeah, the mayor should ask for public input, and the more the merrier, I guess.
Yes. Because I do plan on being there regardless. I'm going to speak at some point.
Okay.
Well, this time I know whether it's awarded to the public in the beginning of this item or at the end, I'm still going to speak regardless. So again, I apologize for that
And I
standpoint.
know it was brought up of having the city do some of the footwork on something like this. And so that was discussed on there, but if we can get there, and I will try not to be out of town this time, but on March 8th then,
That's
that'll come up then.
a week from Wednesday.
Okay.
Uh,
Who is bringing it
Mr.
back
Griffin?
up, do you know?
The
Question?
request was made by Councilmember Kinchin.
Okay, Linda.
So would the city manager would like to speak about this going forward before because we have a few questions from the members up here.
About the
Y-
about the
yes.
Tyndale Oliver
Yes.
proposal, is that correct, sir?
Yes.
One of the things that Ms. Hernandez and I have been talking about is there anything extra that Tyndale Oliver might be able to throw into the mix here to make it just some enticements that they could help the city council along with. And one of the things was playground, play equipment inspections. And Margarita's been looking into that. I think she's better handled to answer that than or expound on that than I am. Do you want to?
Yes, perhaps if we could get Tyndale Oliver to include the performance of playground safety inspections, which I think has to be done by somebody who's certified. And if they could include that in the master plan, or maybe, I don't know, propose it for something else, we're not sure. Possibly then it would be more feasible, I guess, to be approved, or more, it would be something different to present to city council, right? It would include, in this case, the playground inspections.
Because I think one of our overall consensus was trying to see, because I know when the master plan first came into thought, we was thinking that it would kind of help us be guided, or whomever going to be in the future, about future land acquisition. Because we knew that at some point in time, land acquisition was going to be a major issue, because right now, the citizens almost don't have anything or nowhere to go, and with the master plan being created, and I may be going off on an unusual area, but we was trying to, one of the main focuses was on land acquisition, and land acquisition would be the driving point of why the master plan would come into existence. So so that portion is inside of the master plan, that Tinsdale was going to try to look at something like that, or that's something that they don't look at, that's something that the city council will look at as far as land acquisition.
I think they did include in their proposal future planning. I'm not sure whether it was worded that way, but it was future planning as far as making an evaluation of our facilities, the current status of them. I think it was there were like three things: the status of them, the size of them, and then depending on the community as well surrounding that facility, whether it be probably necessary in the future to expand. So I think it was included, I'm just not,
Okay.
I cannot remember exactly how they worded it.
Okay. All right, Greg?
Yeah, I apologize, I was on the other side of the state that night as well. So the fact that it wants to be addressed on the 8th and we can be there, I think that's good. I think one of the considerations then is to understand what the objections of the board was to it. So when you looked at it, and what I read is based on the fact of spending that amount of money, given the other things that need to be done in the city, and making good use of money, which you can't fault them for that. I mean, it makes sense. So if you're going to repropose it rather than coming back and saying the same exact thing, I don't know why you would expect the outcome to be any different. So from that standpoint of trying to propose it in such a way that you're either getting something workable or tangible or something that's more than just thoughts and ideas in order to expect a different outcome. Otherwise, you're kind of going back to the same group, not having changed or augmented what you're asking for, why you would expect a result. And I see both sides. You know, I'm on the record of saying I think there needs to be some kind of forethought as to where to do things, but then also to be, you know, making good use of our money so that we aren't just doing something on an inventory where we can't do anything with it. So I think it would be a good thing to speak as a board, but to keep that in mind as to if there's not a little bit of legwork as to what Tyndall Oliver can do to help us get something workable from the city, then I don't see how the result would be any different. And that's not faulting the board. It's just like, if you're not asking for anything different, I don't know why the vote would go any different.
Do you ask them to put this in, the playground safety inspections? Is that something that we ask them before the council meeting then, that they agree upon?
Yes, it would be something that we would request. In fact, I briefly, very briefly, and informally spoke with them this morning and asked whether they would perform this or whether this was included in their original proposal. And she said, not specifically as far as safety playground inspections. She said, but we could, you know, work with the contract and see if maybe we could possibly either remove the community outreach aspect of the proposal and do this in lieu of the community outreach, or work it out to where it would be the same price, but in this case include the playground safety inspections, which, you know, are very important because of the public safety that.
And then try to do this on like a regular, like a basis for a few years, that they would do that?
You know, they didn't specify whether they would do it. I'm thinking just me thinking, okay, I'm not sure. Like I said, it was a very brief conversation this morning, but I'm thinking more them giving us guidelines as to performing the initial inspection, right, of each of the playgrounds, and then leaving us with guidelines and a checklist for us to make sure and you know, just follow through for the rest of the time.
So, expanding on that, because they have a vested interest in seeing something that the city wants from them, right? It's a short turnaround, asking them if they could augment some of the different aspects, not so much a full-on new plan, but here's some concrete things based on the changes of where we're at. This is still in negotiation. It would be in your best interest to put something together that might entice the board to say, here are some of the things that we've changed based on what you've said our needs are. So in around the inventory could kind of go back and forth as far as something that the city could do and that they could do. But if tied with that, of like they're saying, so inspections from the standpoint of things that are needing improvement, things that in 5 to 10 years are going to be obsolete, things that are okay, and then tied within that of guidelines in and around ADA or special needs, that this is where you sit, this is the norm, this is the trend. If you're thinking about anything new in the future, you need to incorporate on minimum these types of ramps, so that is then something that's workable. So that, because if it comes back to the board or this council, none of us have any kind of background in ADA or special needs or different things like that. And then also trends and different things as far as sports and equipment and things needed in and around communities of our like size. So from that, that's something that we could work with in order to plan in the future. So maybe, you know, they're the experts. See if they have something in that. That would be my last comment.
I think that I'm sorry, did I interrupt somebody? I'm sorry. I did? I'm sorry.
I know that they've already given us the price, and I know the price is one of the biggest issues with the council, so if they could maybe make a good faith effort and bring the price down just, as much as they can, that they could still fulfill their needs and we'll have our needs filled, but just make a good faith effort to possibly take a little bit off the bottom line so that maybe it will be more palpable to the council.
If I could comment on that, you remember, I think their first number out of the box was 108,000 or something like that, so now we're down to 50. And I think council, as they have a want to do, and they should be worried about something being drawn up, and we stroke a check for $50,000, and the plan sits on a shelf and collects dust. I mean, that's, things like that have happened around here and other places, so you can assume that that could happen. They want to
Community
avoid
center.
that. Don't blame them for that $50,000. So I think one of these things about the playground inspections that Ms. Hernandez was thinking about and talking about is, I think maybe we may be behind the power curve on this, and we should be doing this more. I've heard all sorts of things looking into this issue in the past week, that somebody from the city had this designation years ago, but if anything were to happen on one of the playgrounds that that person inspected and a child got hurt or something, that liability could attach to that person, that employee personally, along with the city, so. Right, exactly. So people aren't really willing to do that. They're not going to risk their life savings on getting this designation, making these certifications, if in 2 days the thing could become unsafe and we wouldn't, it wasn't foreseeable. So, that being said, the person I talked to who was affected by that was very reticent about having a city employee doing that. That's why I asked Ms. Hernandez to check in on the possibility of Tyndale Oliver maybe doing this, and then that would sweeten the pie, so to speak, with the council. We'll see.
Corinne, any comments?
Well, yes. I was here during that, I guess it was February 8th City Council meeting, and there was also, well, there were two of us from the Park and Rec, and then there was a representative from Tyndale's, and I don't know why she didn't speak or address, and I still don't know why, but she knew I was on the council, and I talked to her. She can't speak with me directly and whatnot, but she didn't address the council to put any kind of explanation backing, and before you know it, they were voting, and there was some commentary about money and buying two other staff members and so on, but I turned around and they had already voted. It seemed like they were, to me, and this is just my opinion, but it seemed like they were in a hurry to push it out the door. But I don't want to say that without insulting anyone. But there was an individual on this city that seemed to be just after. It seemed like they were just concerned about the money and maybe purchasing two other staff members, and it was like a whirlwind. And the lady stormed out of here besides that. I don't know her name in that, but anyway, that's all I
And Tammy, you have any
say.
comments? Okay, and Joanne, again? Okay. But other than that, we seem to be in agreement about, like, yes, because I plan on being there as well, and just hopefully, like, again, having some type of guidance why the board is here, especially going forward, because we like to see, because we all think the master plan is very important to the actual residents here and the actual city as well. So, but we most definitely thank you for that update. Deb?
So if you get anything email-wise, Margaret, you can just give us an update before the meeting?
I will.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
and just one last question. So when you spoke with Tisdale, did they seem like they would be interested to go that extra length about the safety issue?
Yes, they did. In fact, Mr. Paschal mentioned the ADA aspect of the inspection, and they included, they
Okay.
said if we work something out and we do end up performing the playground inspections, the safety playground inspections, these would include the ADA aspect.
Okay, and so it seemed like that they, at the time you spoke with them, that they're they're familiar with the ADA portion?
Yes,
Okay.
and it would be a certified
Okay,
safety inspector who would perform these inspections.
okay, I mean, thank you for that. If there's no further comment, we're gonna move to the next item. The next item would be the Friendship Park Special Needs Playground status. There's no backup material for that, so, I mean, before we go forward, I had an opportunity to be able to stop in at the actual location or the United Church of Sebastian, and they seem to be pretty thrilled about it because they also have it's kind of not strange, but it's nice to see that they already have a program in place that it kind of go in conjunction with what they're trying to do as far as to have the equipment move from here to their location because they already have a program at their location. So I thought it was pretty interesting as well. But they seem to be very excited, and they've already started the process of moving some of the pieces from over here to their location also. So we'd like to have an update if you don't mind.
Yes, the ADA Advisory Committee was in support of the replacement of this special needs playground at Friendship Park. However, no, they didn't give us any specifics as to type or size or features. They were in support of it, but not really specific as to what they would recommend, I guess.
So, going forward then, on knowing what we want to put in there, they're not going to be meeting again to discuss that?
I believe they did say that they would touch the subject again during their next meeting. So they will be revisiting it, and I believe now it's going to be the city engineer, right, that's going to be present in this meeting, but I'm not sure if,
Well, our assignment from this board was to take it to the Disabilities Advisory Committee, which Ms. Hernandez and myself did. And just as an aside, what I have instructed members of staff to do, the people who are going to be staffing liaison and staff support in that Disability Advisory Committee is going to be the city engineer and the building official. I mean, they're better equipped than Mr. Hernandez or myself in knowing about ADA law and access and things like that. So that being said, going forward, we're going to be doing that. But one of the things that came out of the meeting was that, yes, they support the ADA playground. They were not instructive as to the where and the what so much. So we're going to be working on bringing something back. The status lately, and I failed to go over there tonight to the former ADA playground site. I did go over there this weekend looking around, and United Church of Sebastian has removed the playground equipment, but the surface is still there, the concrete, one of the little pavilions. We're going to be doing something about that and getting that demoed here very soon. I talked to the Public Works Director, and he's got to get that out of there. I'm just worried about safety with kids from Boys and Girls Club or wherever, and so we're going to get that demoed. Right in that area is going to be the site of the new police evidence building. If I could just expand on the Disabilities Committee, the chairman of that committee, Mr. Iovino, went to City Council because they got into a discussion about ADA access at different facilities, different city facilities. Number one, City Hall. There's no ADA door here. And we're working on that, getting disabled access into City Hall. They talked about a couple other things, but one of the things I put on your station on the dais is the issue, and this is a little bit off subject, but it connects, is the issue of the restrooms at the football field. So I don't know the last time any of y'all have been over there. Actually, for me, it was about a year. I had to go over there about a year ago for a toilet paper issue or whatever it was. But I wasn't impressed with the place then. I'm even less impressed now. Something's got to be done.
Yes.
There's no ADA access now. That was built before the ADA law, so in essence, you have almost a grandfathering. But once you remodel or build new, obviously, you have to comply with the law, which is what we do whenever we do something like that, remodel or redo. So anyway, a discussion followed with the council about that facility over there. There's instructions from the council to me was to work up a plan, either remodel or build new. And what I did, I had the city engineer work up a spreadsheet, so to speak, and it's hard to see the position that he has put the restroom over there at the football field. Basically, it's right next to, in between the concession stand and the fence for the skate park. And you can see the cost. So, council was very interested in proceeding with this. I'd like to, and they've asked me to work up a bid, get engineering going on it, and get it done in this budget year. So it's a non-budgeted item. Money will either come from the R&R fund,
R&R.
the Renew and Replacement Fund, excuse me, Repair and Replacement Fund, either come from there or from reserves, but that's to be determined. But I feel like we have to start moving on this. And then what we would do with the old restrooms, just convert that to a storage area for the Sharks football and cheerleading.
So this is a new building then?
And I think it was 32 by 32. Yeah, 32 by 32. And I've been to the site, fits in there nice. This would, actually, we're building a freestanding restroom over at the Working Waterfront on the east side of Indian River Drive, just on the southwest corner of our property on the east side of Indian River Drive there at the Working Waterfront. It's going to be a restroom there, and improvements to that parking lot over on the east side of Indian River Drive. This would duplicate that. Okay. And I believe Frank has preliminarily engaged the same engineering firm, not Tyndall Oliver, Schulke? I'm not sure,
Okay.
but
Hey, Mr. Griffin, so you stated, so the actual existing restroom is going to be used for future storage possible? And so right here on our map that we have, it's right where that little green square with the X at, that's where the new location is going to be at?
That's
So,
correct, sir.
Which is pretty good, because again, I frequent that area a lot, the old or the current restroom. And like I said, again, the only thing I see is good about it, I think the door come open on the outside, that's all. But other than that, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
it's
sure
bad.
they're
It's
going to love
bad.
it too, because
it's bad.
and how many? I know right now, I think it's 2 stalls in each restroom. So will this new building bring in more stalls, or it'll be just about
It
the same
is.
amount?
It's one ADA stall and another stall.
Or it'll be,
regular stall.
still will
So
be
it's
2 for
Yes.
both
That's correct.
male and female? Okay.
The, and this is, pardon me, we ran into this problem with the remote golf course restrooms when we were remodeling them. We didn't tear down and build new, we remodeled them. And because of the turnaround area, we were only permitted to put in one commode. We couldn't put, in the men's room, could not put in a urinal because of the turnaround space. So this would work out better with the 2 stalls, I believe.
And the actual from start to finish, once it is approved by council, would they give you? I guess at that point in time, it's going to be put out for a bid. Then we'll have an idea of how much time it's going to take for construction.
If I say 6 months, it'll turn into 9.
Okay.
You know
So-
how that goes, and it's,
Say a
And
year.
the reason why I say that, because I know the football program. I mean, they have a
Right.
program going on right now is smaller than what takes place in the fall.
Exactly.
And then like also, and that's the reason I was asking, because so the possibility of it happening before August won't happen before they start, but,
Well, I'd like to move this thing forward quickly, so just give us a chance here, and
Okay.
I'll report
Which is
back
good,
next
'cause-
time where we are. I mean, it's out there, and I think it's a good, also, you can't see this on the overhead very well, but there's a sidewalk connecting that concession area with the sidewalk that runs parallel to Barber. I don't know if y'all can make that out, but,
yes, it's a green highlighted area, right?
I mean, there's a big enough charge there for sidewalk that Frank put in there. It's $33,000. And apparently it's a 220-foot sidewalk. So
That's great, because I mean, because right now,
I
that's
was a
great.
little bit off subject there, but that's how that evolved, that discussion evolved. It came from the Disabilities Committee, which came from y'all instructing us to go to the Disabilities Committee about the
Well,
disabled
I know
playground.
that Parks and Rec has talked about that bathroom in the past, so, I mean, I don't think you're getting any objection from us, because 2 years back, we were saying that needed to be done, and it was in the budget, got taken out of the budget and pushed aside. So, I mean, this was already something that was already discussed about from a serious need 2 years ago, so we're on board.
And also having more storage there, that was
Yes.
another issue too. So that was in our plan.
So,
We're always catching the business from in a good way, from the Sharks and Cheerleaders, because they need more storage.
Yeah.
And so this could cure that also.
Good.
so it wouldn't be no removal of the current stalls, so all that stuff is still gonna stay in there?
No, that'll be wiped out. I
Okay,
mean,
so-
I'll-
okay, so
I'll
that'll get them more
dismantle
room,
that,
yeah, okay.
I'll
So-
demo those current bathrooms, restrooms, and make that storage.
Okay.
Okay, so, and there's no vote needed by us going forward, because it's already taken care of?
Not a-
That's good, that's good. Okay, so any more questions from this? Okay, so we're going to Friendship Park, pickleball court status. We get a status report from city.
You or me? Okay. Matter of fact, I just talked to the consultant engineer, Mr. Schulke, last week. Council, I don't know if you remember, but the number that I brought to you 3 months ago, was around almost $50,000, $45,000, somewhere in there. When I took that to council, they wanted to do that in stages, so they set apart the first stage, which was for survey, preliminary concept drawings, and something else. I'm sorry, I can't remember. I'm sorry?
We were looking into the titles of the land.
Title, there you go. Yes, sir. So, and that cost was approximately, around numbers, $15,000. He's engaged in that, has not completed it. They will be moving along. I'm anticipating that he should be finished with that hopefully by next week, and then we can move into the next phase. I would like to be able to report to council verbally on the 8th of, the big question is access. And we had this discussion about parking access, emergency vehicle access, ADA access, and then parking back on the backside if we need that. So, I mean, the 600-pound gorilla in the room is, are we going to have to buy property over there? So, I don't know that yet.
So they're still working on the title work for that area that's along the side access, that dirt road going back in there. Did we find out if that's city? You remember?
As I understand it, that is city property. The problem with that is, that fence, there used to be a fence there, somebody broke the fence, but that fence, that's where it stops. So there would not be any access north of that, and that could be a problem. depending on the size of another road we put in there and things like that, mostly for emergency vehicles. So I'm just waiting to hear.
And so is he going to be talking, if we need more room back in there, who would be talking to the landowners then? City would do that to find out if there would,
Well, I think that would be up to me. I'll get advice from him, and then I'll make the contacts, and I'll do what I have to do. And but frankly, I don't know which way it's going to go
All right.
right now.
Are there any further questions from the board about this, on this topic? Okay, so we're gonna move on to the Dark Park Fire Hydrant update.
Yes. Last meeting when we were here, we were going to look into possibly moving the fire hydrant from the airport that we no longer needed over there. Well, that was not possible, so we went ahead and purchased a couple of fire hydrants to put, one in the large dog area and one in the small dog area. Unfortunately, one of these fire hydrants was stolen from the large dog area the same week that it was installed.
Wow.
So, we tried, we looked to see if we could move the one from the airport, we couldn't, so we went ahead and bought two, and now we only have one.
Wow, so, well,
Was it cemented into place, or was it just sitting? Somebody pulled it out of the cement?
Yes.
wow, I mean,
Lord help you
Wow,
if you need
I
a
mean-
urine-soaked fire hydrant.
and we like to thank the staff for doing that real fast. Thank you, but I mean, yes.
How much was that? What was the cost?
I vaguely remember they were like around $55 each. Now, of course, there's much more expensive ones, but we wanted to give these a try to see how they'd work, and obviously this was the result.
Wow.
I still think my suggestion of putting in some timber posts, just put a lot of creosote or something on it and make it visible. If you have to paint it orange or half stripes or something, the dogs aren't going to care, but at least it's a place. What? So, but no, it would be for the people not walking into it. It's not, but that would be cheaper, and then, so that's just my suggestion, but whatever you feel.
Any more comments from the board on this? Well, thank you, staff, for jumping on it so fast, but I mean, that's amazing. That's really amazing. No, so, we got the Pete Harris plaque update.
Yes, somebody had inquired, I think it was under public input, they had inquired about this Pete Harris plaque. We said that we would go back and try to look for it, ask other departments, including Public Works, and we've asked, and no one has seen it anywhere.
Okay,
So we're not sure where it is, but at least in City Hall, it has not been found.
okay, yes. Was it?
Was
Yes,
on
it was by the fountain.
the fountain in the park. Yeah, it was a little plaque right in front of the Pelican.
So are we replacing it then?
I don't know, it had his picture, didn't have his picture engraved on it, or it's,
I think
Yeah.
it did, yes.
and it cracked. I think around the hurricanes, maybe. It cracked, and then it was removed to be fixed, and I guess,
I don't know. I thought it was, somebody took it. It looked like it was pried off when I went down there and saw
oh, I
it.
don't know, I thought that it was removed to be,
Really? But
fixed.
we did an exhaustive search as much as we could. And
What is the cost about to have that replaced, do you know? Is it something we want to do again, to get it put back?
I mean, if the board would like me to look into it, we'll look into it and see what we can do. It's,
I think we should, if it was there before.
I think there was, when they did that plaque and they had that ceremony, I think they did have the picture of the plaque somewhere, as I remember, in Sally Mayo's archives. I think they're around, so I could probably
Okay. If
find
you-
that tomorrow.
Yeah, if you could check in, that would be good.
Any additional questions? Okay, so if not, we're gonna move to new business, and the new business is the, I guess we just spoke about that.
Yeah, I'm
Briefly.
sorry, I jumped
Okay,
ahead
no,
there,
it's-
but the connection was the Disabilities Committee, so.
Okay. So in the new business was the restroom and at Barber Street Sports Complex, and we just briefly went over that a little earlier, so do this board here have any questions going forward? Okay, no question? So at this time, we're gonna open the meeting up for public input. Does anyone in the public would like to speak? Okay, if no one would like to speak, we're gonna move on to staff matters. Staff, okay. Okay, then we'll start with, we have our board and committee members. We'll start with Tammy. Do you have any comments about anything?
Thank you for putting the maps back into I went on 3 locations, they're filled up, and I know it was kind of a, small item, but I was really pleased that they were put back. And also, I'd like to say thank you for the blue light. It means a lot, and I'm very happy and proud that it's there. That's all.
Joanne?
The lights look great on Easy Street Park. You got those going again. So thank you for getting that taken care of.
Rosemary?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Corinne?
No, I'm fine.
Greg?
And my only comment is seeing how the Tyndale Oliver thing shakes out. If it gets to the point where we're needing to do inventories, maybe then that's a new role that the Parks and Rec Board could take on. So just to put it in your minds that if that's something that we want to try to do, if it comes to that, where we're trying to figure out ways to make that work, then maybe we look for ways to partner with people, volunteers in the community and this board to take 1 or 2 parks in a month at a time, like take off little pieces of the pie, and either from guidance from Parks and Rec, where we could, in working with, city and the staff, of coming up with something that we're looking for, that if it comes to that of developing something in-house, of just maybe putting that out there of what we'd want to help contribute as a board, and using community members to get that done, if we can't find something that can be met from the Tyndale Oliver side. So just put that in your mind, if you can do that.
If I could comment on that. I have instructed our purchasing and contract manager to start an inventory and a look-see of properties that the city owns, in the city. And so I don't want the word to get out that, we're gonna sell off everything and we've got a need to do this. We don't. But if there are properties out there that, for example, may be unusable for a pocket park or something else, then we should see about maybe reducing our inventory and getting that out on the market and getting on down the road, because it just doesn't. I'd rather see those properties, if they're unusable to us, that they could generate some taxable income for the city. So that is ongoing. He's working on that. I don't know how long that's going to take. Actually, I think there are quite a bit. There's some properties out there that we have, quite a few. So maybe I'll be able to report back on that the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I'd be interested in knowing too, just from usable and non-usable, just like where some of those different things are. Would the thought be, if you sold something off, to trade that out and looking to expand somewhere else? Like a trading of, not trade in the sense of trading outright, but if you let something go that's not usable, with the idea that we still need space in order to use those funds toward acquiring something else, as opposed to just the general fund or city budget.
Well, for example.
How does that work?
For example, there's I look at maybe one in the Highlands, one lot here, another lot there, just a residential lot that really could never be converted to a park, couldn't be converted to a stormwater pond. Primary example of where we utilized a couple residential lots was over on Tulip, and converted those to that stormwater project that we just completed a couple months ago. Turned out real nice, but those were 3 or 4 lots that we own, that the city owns. So that was a good utilization of that property. just one small lot in the highlands somewhere really isn't going to help us stormwater-wise. It's certainly not going to help us pocket park-wise. I think you need something bigger. Another point to bring up, because something just popped. A lady had called, and she wanted to know about what the city's plans were for Filbert Park, that things have gotten run down there, things are not progressing, there's nothing going on with Filbert. What are you guys doing? I tried to explain that, well, you know, this master plan thing is kind of out there hanging around. It may get approved, may not get approved. That would give some direction to the committee. But I asked her to come to tonight's meeting, so I guess she didn't show up. But that's something that I'm going to be taking a look at. Maybe the committee could go down there next meeting. We could all get ideas on what's going on down there. I guess really there isn't much going on there. And I don't know if you all remember, not to be wordy about this, but when the disc golf issue came up a couple years ago, before Ms. Hernandez was here, the disc golf issue came up. One of the places for disc golf was Filbert, and you had big turnout from Filbert area residents who are not only no, but heck no on y'all putting that in there. So, and then I think, remember we were talking about Ms. Webster I opened my mouth about closing that baseball and putting it down at Filbert. Of course, I heard about that the next day. So that may be in your corner here soon, because there is some interest in what's going on down there. So it's an open question. Sorry.
That's pretty good. Again, like I said, one of the main focuses that we talked about as far as the board was possible land acquisition, because a lot of the actual activities that the community is using right now, the areas that they're using right now, is already maxed out. Everything's maxed out. So, and then again, many months ago, we thought that to create a master plan would be a great idea, because we know the city is not almost built out, but it's getting close to being built out as far as residences, homes, but they still have room for that. But we was talking about trying to maybe have a land acquisition or a trade-off at some point, which that's out of our hands too, but we're just thinking outside the box, because we know that it may be something out there that we haven't seen, because I know several businesses were going to try to come in here, and I know, I don't know what happened to that mobile home thing. The mobile home thing, did it ever go? So that never goes. So we just thought that may be a good area as far as, so we thank you again, city staff, for coming in and letting us know that it's not closed, it's still open. So a lot of the members up here now have plans on marking that date down, so they all can be in attendance and speaking as well. So I really do thank you guys for that. Thank city staff for that. Because that was one of our main focus of trying to have a master plan to be able to see what could be done, if anything can be done for that. So I don't have any words at all. So we could see what the next date will be for the next meeting in March. It should be March 27th. March 27th. Okay, so we can set that for our date, and if there's no further questions, we can consider this meeting adjourned.